we got Greek cosmology here. Real quick, let's look here. This top story of heaven. They've named Olympus as the home of the gods. And Olympus is Mount Olympus, which Sean has identified as Mother Babylon, right?
That is right. Yeah.
They have it situated in this appearingly to be above the vault of heaven. But if you just picture like the vault above, you see, because you see the circle goes around over the word Olympus.
Yeah.
That would indicate to me that the Olympus that is labeled is underneath the dome.
Yeah. Just like I try to express from Genesis chapter 1, verse 19 and 20, where it talks about the birds fly through the open heaven, right? The open firmament. What I've gleaned from studying scripture about the firmament, everything above the mountains is the heaven. But there's the open heaven, which means the space underneath the enclosure, versus the physical structure of the actual firmament, which is also called heaven, versus the heavens above, the heaven of heavens. Right. So to me, it makes perfect sense that they got the clouds and the vault of heaven here, and then Olympus is above the clouds, because that would be accurate for what I've tried to show with all the cultures that say that, like Samson was talking about, even the Chinese, the top gods and rulers lived in some kind of floating city above the clouds.
There you go. And if you look down at the bottom of this, they even have Hades, abode of the dead, which is the Greek word for Sheol, for Greek cosmology here, and then Tartarus, which is the Greek word for the bottomless pit, abusos, right, of the abyss the rebellious angels are hanging out in. And we've understood that the Hebrew word there that would have been transliterated from would be Abaddon.
That's right.
The area Tartarus. But there's more on Greek cosmology on the next slide, if you would. And I'll go ahead and read. Greek mythographers conceived of the earth as a massive disk surrounded by a watery waste, the circular river of ocean, the physical heavens arched overhead like an inverted bowl. Heavens, plural, they say. And then I think that's supposed to be the edges of which were supported by mountainous pillars or held up by Atlas, the mightiest Titan, right? Giant. The Olympian gods lived somewhere above the clouds. Beneath the earth lay the eternally dark kingdom of Hades, a vast subterranean cavern housing the dead. Tartarus, a deep pit beneath Hades' main level, served as a prison for fallen titans and the souls of notorious sinners. And this was a quote from a book called Hesiod's Creation Story. Hesiod was a Greek poet.
That's nice. I've always wondered about the Atlas character, because it's like he's holding up this sphere, and then in the modern time they say, he's holding up the globe.
The globe, yeah.
But I'm like, that's not what they thought a sphere was back then.
Right.
So I'm like, they didn't believe the world was a globe back then. So what did they believe he was actually holding up?
Right. And they called the armillary sphere, was like a cosmological tool that they would use for determining the constellations, but it was used as a representative of the so-called celestial sphere, which is just the dome of heaven.
Yeah.
That's no moon.
That's no moon, right? In the beginning, Hesiod's creation story continued. This was a little excerpt from that book. I thought it was interesting. Some Greek scientists, such as Aristarchus of Samos in 320 BC, correctly postulated, we're going to say that's incorrectly, but correctly postulated that the Earth is a globe suspended in space that orbits the sun. But long before classical astronomers produced theories based on mathematical calculations, however, Greek poets such as Hesiod, and 675 BC, older than I thought, promoted a mythic conception of the universe based partly on ancient Near Eastern models, and get this, and partly on commonsensical observation of their physical environment.
How dare he?
How dare they look around and use their eyes and say that what they see is true? The world structure reflected in Hesiod's theogony, the Greeks' oldest and most influential creation account, is that which a careful observer might infer after taking a look around. When viewed from a hilltop according to a 360-degree panorama of the surrounding terrain, the Earth's surface appears to extend an equal distance in all directions, forming a generally circular boundary. That's about all there.
Wow.
That the sky resembles a huge bowl or dome that from its highest point overhead seems to curve evenly downward to the distant horizon. So this Greek poet, or somebody writing about this Greek poet, I believe, in his creation story, says that, historically it's understood that they just looked around and they had commonsensical observations to produce the cosmological model.
Why would we believe those Greeks? I mean, they were like Stone Age men building the Parthenon and such. How would we possibly? They were out there just being stupid, building the Colossus of Rhodes. Why would we ever believe that they could actually observe something and have good common sense.
It's my understanding that commonsensical observations is called empirical science.
That's right.
There you go. I love it.
Right.
Yep. Scientific method.